Hey everybody, it's John Gaffney at True North Consumer Advocates. With all of the tornadoes that we've seen over the past several weeks and months, particularly in Texas and Oklahoma and Illinois, and as well as other states, and the fact that hurricane season is just a few weeks away now, I thought this would be a good opportunity just to talk about and go over some things specific to reporting a claim under your homeowner policy. I've been through some devastating, powerful hurricanes, and I've helped many clients get through the claims process with hurricanes and tornadoes and other types of catastrophic losses. It's a tough time. Your life is turned upside down. You're uncertain about the process, how long it's going to take, when can I get my life back to normal. So there's a lot going on, and I just thought this might be useful information. And I can assure you, as somebody who's been through a devastating hurricane, you will get through it. It may take a little bit of time depending on the extent of the damage, but you will get through it. And again, the most important thing is your family, your loved ones. The property can be repaired, it can be replaced, but your well-being, your family's well-being, that's the most important thing. And I think once everyone is accounted for and everyone is okay, the first thing that you really want to do is just get your toll-free number to your insurance company claim department and call them. All right, you're going to ring directly into the claim department. The person that picks up that phone is going to do what we call a first notice of loss. Typically, they're trained in these calls, and they're going to ask you all of the questions that they really need to ask to develop as much information regarding the damage, the extent of your loss, and they are going to get you to provide that information in detail. If they don't ask a question and you think there's something that's relevant or material, by all means include that, and that will get the process started. Now, at the conclusion of that phone call, you're going to get your claim number. That's going to be your identifying number going forward. And again, depending on the extent of the damage, it may take a while to effect the complete repair. So you may need to reference that number in a couple of phone calls going forward. So just make sure you have that number written down. The other thing too that you want to make sure, the contact information that you give to the insurance company, make sure that the number is working. After Hurricane Helene last year, a lot of cell towers were damaged. People's cell phones weren't working. So there was a breakdown in communication between the insured and the insurance company. And even landlines in some cases weren't working properly. So just make sure that the information that you give them is functional, and try to take that call when you get it, because you want to get on your adjuster's calendar as soon as possible, because you want them to come out and do what they do. You want to get money started flowing to start rebuilding your life. Now, a couple of other things that the policy requires, and probably the most important one is there's an obligation, a duty to protect your property from further damage. So to illustrate that point, let's talk about your roof. Let's just say that the roof is gone, half the roof is gone. You may want to get a tarp and try to safeguard the undamaged property from further damage. Keep all of your receipts, because these are reasonable expenses, and that's what the insurance company is going to reimburse you for. Reasonable costs, reasonable expenses to safeguard the property from further damage. And also, you would also be able to get a storage pod put on your property. You would also be able to take undamaged property and put it into a storage unit. And again, they would pay those reasonable costs to protect your property from further damage. And the good news too is when you move it to the pod or to the storage unit, your coverage will actually go with that property, and it would be covered if there was any type of an additional loss at the storage location. So those are all things that you should be aware of. The other thing is taking an inventory of all of your damaged personal property. Today we have the advantage of having phones that we can take hundreds of pictures, we can do videos. Use that and do the inventory, take photos of all of the damaged property. If you can, what I always encourage my clients to do is do a walking video with a narrative. Just go from room to room, We're in the living room. This is the couch that we bought 2 years ago. We paid $1,500 at such and such a store. Not a lot of detail, but enough detail to be useful, to give the adjuster an idea. This couch is never going to be the same again. It's totaled. It has to be completely repaired, replaced. And so that's something to be mindful of there too. Also, a big issue, and I've seen this time and time again, after a bad storm passes, it's human nature to want to start the cleanup process right away. And I've seen so many people take property, put it curbside, they want to throw it away. Do not do that until you meet with the adjuster. The insurance company has the right to view all damaged property. So do not throw anything away until you meet with the adjuster. And if he comes and he says, you know what, I've seen it, it's documented, you can get rid of it, then by all means, go ahead and do that. But do not throw anything away until you get the green light from your adjuster. Okay. Also, if your home is severely damaged and you can't live there, your homeowner policy has coverages. Depending on the company, some companies refer to it as additional living expenses. Some companies refer to it as loss of use, but basically it's the same coverage, and it's going to cover the additional expenses above and beyond your typical monthly expenses that you realize that you incur as a result of the covered event. If you have to go live in a hotel, a motel, because your home is just not safe to stay in, those things are going to be covered. So again, make sure you keep all of your receipts. Additionally, if you have to eat meals in a restaurant for a couple of days, keep the receipts. This is what ultimately the insurance company is going to use to determine your reimbursement. So keep every receipt that you pick up as a result of this loss. Can't emphasize that enough. And the other thing that I just want to point out too, the policy, when an insurance adjuster comes out, all right, and especially if you've got a catastrophic loss, they're going to start giving you money. They're going to start to get a cash flow going to help you rebuild or to start to rebuild your life. You're going to be getting actual cash value. The insurance company is only obligated to give you actual cash value until the repair or the replacement is completed. All right. Now, the actual cash value, the difference between the replacement cost and the actual cash value is depreciation. Once everything is finished, all right, you submit all of your final paperwork with all of your final receipts, and you make sure you speak to your adjuster and you make sure that you have actually gotten the depreciation to bring your settlement up to a full replacement cost settlement. I can tell you firsthand, in Florida, after some really significant hurricanes, a lot of folks did not know that they had only received the actual cash value, and they were able to actually effect repairs. And we had clients where we actually sat down with them after everything was done, everything was finished, and we realized that there was still that supplement to give them the depreciation portion of the settlement to them. And in some cases, we got meaningful amounts of money reimbursed to the client. Again, these are just some basic thoughts that hopefully will be helpful. If there's anything that we can do to assist you during this difficult time, you can go to True North Consumer Advocates and reach out to us. But again, having been through this myself, things will get better. The most important thing, obviously, is your well-being, your family, and everything else can be taken care of and replaced and repaired. I wish you all well. And again, if we can help you, you let us know.